Hello, my fellow modeling and tabletop gaming enthusiasts, and welcome to the Mediocre Modeler Show. This week, since it's been like 2 weeks since the last episode, I took a week off work. You think I would have had time to record a video about something? Nope. I probably could have. It's just I had the week off work. My kids were in school. My wife was at work, so I just kind of enjoyed doing whatever I needed to do. I had to run a lot of errands, with Christmas shopping and all that. But this week, we're just going to kind of take a look at what it is that I've been working on the last couple of weeks and what I've got in progress currently. A lot of pretty cool stuff, I think. And then this will probably be our final video for the year. Take a couple of weeks off for the holidays, since this will come out on Christmas Eve for those of you that celebrate Christmas. This will kind of also serve as our Christmas episode, sort of year-end episode, whatever you want to call it. So without any further ado, let's head on over to the bench and take a look at what I've been working on. Well, here is what I've worked on, finished in the last couple of weeks, and am currently working on. So, in no particular order, I finished up this werewolf that came with the, I can't even remember if she had a name, but he's all finished up and based. So another Shrek Wolfen to add to my squad. And then we started the Soviet Army. So we've got the Daughters of the Motherland. I've got 5 of them built, primed up, in the process. Just started painting on them the other night. The green is brighter than I'd anticipated it would be, but I'm just going to run with it. It'll be cool. It'll be fine. So I'm excited to get working on these. I've got the other 5 to do, so I'll do like 2 squads of 5 to start. So that'll be fun to do. And then we've got my first 2 completed Soviet models. So the first one is actually the T-34 ZP. I tried to do use some Turbo Dork color shift paint on there, which looked really cool till I put a matte varnish on it, and then not so much. But I'm a little disappointed with how my paint scheme turned out, because I went too heavy on the white and not heavy enough on the salt. I used the salt chipping method for this. But it still works. It's like it was freshly applied. Weathered it up really, really good. You can see along there. So that looked pretty well. And then I believe that says "To Victory" on the side, if the decal sheet was correct. And then there's the Cossack Lightwalker that I reviewed on the last episode, which I don't think is technically fully done because I haven't painted one little piece, but that's okay. That one I'm happier with the paint scheme. But yeah, because I went heavier with the salt, lighter on the white, really heavy on the weathering again. I thought that would cool, and I based it to match my Germans, so like an Eastern Front theme for those guys. The light AT gun and the autocannon are magnetized, so I can swap those out as needed. They're really easy to do. So I'm really happy with that one. I'm looking forward to going with the rest of the Soviet Army. Taking a quick step away from Warlord, we've got some figures for Don't Look Back finished. So we've got Seth the Hero, the 2022 Adepticon exclusive figure that I got this last year, which was, they brought it back for 2025. All I had to do with these 5 was just base them. They've been painted for a while. We've got 2 Paranormal Investigators, which was a special set. Well, not really a special set. I think they still have them. But, yeah. So those are done. Then we've got the police officer, who's from the Survivors of Woodstown set. And then Boxcar Willie, Stockyard William, Stock Car William. This was another of the 2025 Adepticon exclusive figures. So painted up, based, finally. And then let's go back to Warlord with some completely out of left field stuff here. Excuse me. The first Warlord game I ever bought was actually the Master and Commander starter for Black Seas. So I kind of came back to that. So I decided to start with USS United States here, which I've had this for a while. So finally got that painted up. It is fully rigged. It just needs to have the sails. And at the same time I was doing this, I was doing 2 Brigs, who are also painted up, fully rigged. I think one of them, the bowsprit isn't rigged, and I don't know if I'm going to. It was kind of a pain to do that. So I don't think I'm going to bother with it. But I just need to give them the sails and the pennants, and they'll be good to go. Yeah. And as you can see there, United States on the back of her hull. And then next to her, of course, we have her sister ship, the USS Constitution, Old Ironsides herself, fully painted. So next up, I think they need a matte varnish. I don't know if I've given her a matte varnish yet. And then, of course, straighten all the masts and everything. The bowsprit looks like it's a little crooked, but that's okay. They're white metal, so they're easy to do. And, of course, Constitution on her stern there. Pretty basic color scheme for the U.S. Navy in this time period, but it's still fun to do, and they look good. The rigging I find the rigging to be enjoyable. It's kind of crazy, but I enjoy it. I don't do the rat lines. I don't like to look at the clear acetate rat lines, so I just leave those off. And then finally, for victory at sea, we've got a pair of heavy hitters for the U.S. Navy. The USS Alaska to start, the large cruiser CB-1 in measure 32 1D camouflage. This is hand-painted camouflage. It was kind of fun to do. It wasn't too terribly difficult because I found like a line diagram of how she should be painted in this pattern, which it's funny because if you look at the website example for USS Alaska, it looks exactly like this, which is exactly like the diagram that I found. And you can see from the top side, which is kind of interesting because if you look at some of the turrets, especially that rear or that aft turret, it definitely looks like a 2-gun turret. Works really well. And then, of course, next to her, we've got the big girl herself, the USS Iowa, my personal favorite, given a broadside to starboard, because if you got a battleship, you're going to give a broadside. Where it does actually say USS Iowa on there. Interesting thing, which I think I pointed out about the Alaska, is they call it an Alaska class battleship, but she was technically classified as a large cruiser. She was a cruiser killer, armed with 9 12-inch guns, whereas heavy cruisers of the era were armed with 8-inch guns, and the battleships were armed with 14 and 16-inch guns. But Alaska and Guam were armed with 12-inch guns. They were fast, they had big guns, but they did not have the armor of a battleship. But then you had the battleship, the USS Iowa, my favorite. So this one's going to be in the same camouflage pattern, the 32 1D, fitting for her in 1943. It's really not that hard to do. I was a little hesitant to do it, but it's a little nicer than, I think it's 31, or I can't remember exactly the one, but I think it's going to look cool. So yeah, so that's the models and stuff that I've been working on the past couple weeks. All right, so then the other studio update I guess we've got is I managed to get a bit of a deal on an Anycubic Photon Mono 4. Tried to do a test print, but it failed for any number of reasons, and I haven't bothered to try again, but I need to find a better place to put it. I have an idea in mind. I just need to start executing some of my plans to get it done. So I got the printer itself, the wash and cure station. I think it's the wash and cure 3, and then a bottle of resin. So once I get a setup for that and a proper place to put it, we'll definitely be diving into that, seeing what kind of shenanigans we can cause with a 3D printer. I've got a heater and air purifier on the way, so we'll see when I get that. I got to put some legs on a workbench and then get a vent hood and all kinds of safety stuff before I really dig into this. But yeah, so this should lead to some pretty interesting stuff in there. There you have it, my friends. There's everything that's been on the bench recently and everything that's currently on the bench, as well as the projects waiting in the wings. So I'm really excited about the printer. I'm a little scared at the moment, just like safety reasons, but like I've got a respirator, I've got lots of gloves. I've got a spot scoped out in my basement where I can vent an enclosure for it that will vent to the outside. I've got another workbench that I built in my old house that I built for reloading ammunition that hasn't been used in 7 or 8 years probably at this point. And it came, when I built it, I only put 2 legs on it because the shop that I had there was in our basement and just had exposed studs for the walls. So I attached the back of the bench to the studs. So I need to just get some 2x4s and build 2 more legs. I just need to run to the lumber store and get a 2x4 cut. So I'm going to do that and then probably build a shelf underneath so I can have storage and stuff. Then I need to get an enclosure to put the printer in that then has an extraction fan so I can route that through a boarded up window in my basement, cut a hole, put a little vent on the outside so that I can vent fumes and everything to the outside. It'll probably be a month or 2 before I get around to doing any of this, but once I do that, I mean, we'll start learning how to print, get some really cool stuff. I think I've got some really cool files, and some really cool files coming. Like I recently purchased some files from Blacksite Studios, some vehicles to 3D print for a few games. I've got a lot of like half tracks that from a Kickstarter I backed a number of years ago. Plus, I backed a Kickstarter within the last month for a game called Catharsis 46, which is another kind of alternate steampunkish World War II. They're models right now, but I think they're planning to work it into a game. But some of them would work really well for Conflict 47. So I'm really excited for that. They're still kind of, working on finalizing all the designs, but that's going to be pretty cool. So that's why I'm kind of excited for the printer. I mean, I've had a lot of these files for years, but I've never had a printer. So I've had to send them to other people, have other people print it for me. But now I can, start messing around with it and try and do it myself. Outside of that, I think I've mentioned previously, a month or so ago, bought a new car. Never really mentioned what that implications of that for the channel. It basically just means I'm going to be spending a little less money on models. So there might not be as many inbox reviews and stuff, which is okay because I want to do like more tutorials and hopefully try and get some, battle reports out there as well. The cart preview for Adepticon is up. The only Conflict 47 event so far is a tournament that I think runs Saturday and Sunday. So I'm kind of hoping to see if more comes out for that. I'd like to see more of just like a 1-day narrative thing. Or maybe like just like a 2-game event, like 2 games in the afternoon or something would be really cool. Just like 2 1,500-point games. So I'm hoping to see something like that. If not, maybe looking to see. I'm not even going to say, I'm not going to mention that. But yeah, I know I don't really have a whole lot of plans for the new year other than just to kind of keep working on what I'm working on. I did splurge, like it was a splurge on the printer, but also on another game system that I just found out about. Managed to find 1 copy available on eBay. Otherwise, you'd have to order it from Poland. And shipping is a little expensive, and then there's the whole tariffs and all that stuff. But I managed to find a Kickstarter edition of it that had the starter box as well as 2 expansion sets. And that is for the game Gods of War Togo, which is a 1/1200th historical naval combat game set in the pre-Dreadnought era. So late 1800s, like 1895 to 1905. So think like the Spanish-American War, which is the set that I got. So like the Battle of Santiago de Cuba, which I'm just blanked on, and also the Battle of Manila Bay. That's what I was thinking of. And then also the Russo-Japanese War. And they do have Russian and Japanese fleets as well as French, German, and English, British. So those are all out there. You can find those at bolter.pl is who is making them now. I can't remember the name. GM Games, GM Miniatures, something like that. But there's 1 copy on eBay, and it cost a pretty penny, but I just went for it. And so should be getting that here within the next week. So we'll definitely take a look at that. So it's interesting. All the miniatures are 3D printed. So that'll be pretty cool. And the description for the item is all the ships were still on their supports and everything, how they shipped, and it has everything, nothing's been played. So that should be pretty cool. We'll see. We'll definitely check that out when it arrives. So a little bit more historical stuff in the future. I do have more Black Sea stuff to paint, build and paint, and rig, and put sails on. I got lots of stuff to work on, so I don't need to buy anything more for a while. Until Adepticon. So, yeah. But yeah, I mean, really, that's just kind of the plan. Just kind of do similar to what we're doing, but maybe not have as many out-of-box reviews, as opposed to trying to do some painting tutorials, modeling tutorials, and things like that. So, yeah. So 2025 in review at this point, it's been a pretty interesting year, pretty fun year, pretty good year, lots of good stuff. The big thing obviously being the release of Conflict 47 Second Edition. The new models and everything, getting to paint that. And also, the announcement that the Soviet starters are going to have to be revamped. The models were just too good. I mean, that's basically what it was, is we designed these awesome models that we can't mass produce the way we wanted to because they're just too cool. So I had not ordered one because they went up for pre-order right around the time where I had to get a new car. So I wasn't able to invest the funds like I may have liked, but it is what it is. It's okay. They'll be out there. You can definitely, and especially because the Soviets in the second wave, the Soviets were really the only ones that I was interested in. So that's fine. If they take 6 more months or something, or a year, I'll have a Soviet army built within a year, I'm sure. But, if they take a little bit more time and get that sorted out, that's going to be awesome. So, yeah. But that, I think, about wraps it up. So I just want to thank everyone for watching over the course of the year. It's been a really fun year to do this. Also, again, I want to shout out my buddy Max at Barefoot Miniatures is having a Conflict 47 event. I believe it's either in January or February. I can't remember. Sorry, Max. But I will let him post the look for Max's comment down below. I'm sure he'll let us know the dates. Post a link to it, Max. But yeah, if you're going to be over in the UK around that time, definitely think about checking that out, because Max is an awesome dude, and I'm sure he'll be running an awesome event. He's also put out some awesome Conflict 47 content, so definitely go check that out. And yeah, as always, thank you so much for watching. I really do hope you enjoyed it. Let me know about what you think about what I got in progress, what you think about my paint scheme for the Soviets and all that. Also, if you're into Black Seas or Victory at Sea, let me know. I mean, I haven't played them. Again, I just love collecting and painting them. Rigging those ships for some reason is awesome. Painting the tiny ass camo schemes on those 1800 scale ships is a lot of fun too. I don't know. Call me crazy. I'm a weirdo, I guess. And that's how I like it. So, for all of those of you out there that celebrate Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, I hope you all have a fantastic holiday season. I hope you all have a safe, happy, and enjoyable New Year's. And yeah, I guess we'll see you in 2026, and hopefully see some of y'all at Adepticon. Excuse me. And as always, until next time, may your paints be thin, your brushes be pointy, and your dice be hot.